All right. Let me get the link tweeted out. As you guys know, it always takes a while, but gonna try and get some people in here as quickly as I can. Of course, gonna make audio and everything's working with the mic. Yeah, looks like we're good. Let me send this out on Twitter. Um, make sure everything's good to go. It is awesome stuff. All right, so of course, Masters start this weekend, and I think it's always a fun event to bet, but it's also a weird one because no matter what you look to, no matter what you read online, everybody's looking at something different. Everybody's going to land on a different golf this week. It's just kind of how it is. But of course, golf betting is kind of like one of my big things that I do pretty regularly, so I feel obligated to my picks out there and give you guys a majority of like what I'm thinking. So I have 5 winners, 4 top 10s, 7 top 20, top 40s, 5 group plays, 10 matchups, handful of props, a bunch of round matchups and stuff going forward for the first round. So I'll go over all that. Um, so I will, of course, start with the fun stuff. Who I think is going to win the event. I kind of landed on 2 guys, and this was kind of it was kind of a no for me because these were both guys that I was definitely like looking into already before the event started. So I landed on John Rahm. I got him at 13-1. He's already down to 12-1 since I placed the bet an hour ago. He's already down from 13-1 to 12-1. But I like him a lot, and he's a guy that I was kind of big on beforehand. You can ask anybody; it's one of the biggest subjective angles in all of sports. Dude just had a kid over the weekend. It's a really good spot to be in. It's an angle that tons of people play, no matter what the sport is. So I was already on him. That happens, so I'm even bigger on him now. And then the other guy I'm on is Justin Thomas um, at 11-1. I think that iron plays are going to be the iron play is going to be like the big thing this weekend. Listened to a radio interview with Peter Costas, one of the great golf instructors, and he was talking about he was coaching Paul Casey, and he said that the wind's definitely going to be a factor this weekend in Augusta. So guys that kind of hit the ball high on approach shots um, are probably going to struggle a little bit. So you want to look for those guys that are keeping it low. But then the greens are going to roll a lot. So guys coming in low, obviously that's going to be an issue. So it's really tough to kind of pick where you are. So you want to really find guys that are just really, really good at those approach shots. And I don't think there's very few people in the game right now that are hitting their irons better than Justin Thomas. Um, so I have him at 11-1, Rahm at 13-1. Those are my 2 favorite plays. I went ahead and took DeChambeau at 10-1. He's now at 9.5-1. It just kind of made sense. He's a co-favorite with Dustin Johnson. I know a lot of people probably don't think that's he probably should be there. And both of them, they're people have their reservations against the two of them. But Shambo was 6.5, 7-1 in November. Didn't play that well. And now the guy's at 10-1. I think just the gap in the movement from where he was 6 years ago, he's probably playing better golf right now. There was just a lot of hype back in November, and that's why the number was there. And the number's here now because he's playing exceptional golf. So I took DeChambeau. I took Paul Casey 35-1 is kind of more of like my long shot. And then my other kind of longer shot is Patrick Cantlay at 22-1. It seems to be 40-1 is kind of the cutoff. Um, you're not really going to see a guy with more than 40-1 odds win 9 times out of 10 here. So that was kind of the cutoff. And the guys that come in below that, those are the 5 that I felt most comfortable in. If I wanted to take an absolute long shot this weekend, and I didn't bet these guys, but if you were looking for just a get rich quick long shot here, Will Zalatoris is 95-1. Again, he's just really good. at approach shots, plays the irons very well. And then I'm trying to find where, um, just give me a second here. Where does all right? And Max Homa is 100 to 1. Um, he's another guy that I think is chipping and putting really well right now. Courses that compare well to Augusta, he's played there, played well there recently. So those are kind of like my guys that I would say would be long shots. I'm not betting them. My top five plays. Rahm is my favorite, with Justin Thomas being second, DeChambeau third, Cantlay fourth, and then Paul Casey fifth with those two long shots if you want to take a flyer. My top tens, I'm going to kind of speed through this just because it's a lot of the guys I've already talked about. Justin Thomas plus 105, John Rahm plus 115, Cameron Smith at plus 320. He played well here last go round. I think the course fits his style well. He's at plus 320. And then I did take Max Homa at plus 750 to finish top 10. I think that the value is just absurd. I think he should probably be, in terms of the odds, he should probably be closer to these guys that are like, he should be right between Joaquin Niemann and Jason Day, who are at 60 to 1. Billy Horschel's at 85 to 1. I'd probably put him around 80, 85 with Billy Horschel. So it's just value all the way around right now for Max Homa. Top 20s, Paul Casey, Cameron Smith again, Scotty Scheffler. He's just playing decent golf right now. He played well at match play a couple weeks ago, so hopefully he has a little bit of momentum. Will Zalatoris, who I've already talked about. Adam Scott, who's really being overlooked. He's at plus 190. Zalatoris is plus 160. Scheffler is plus 150. Smith is plus 135. Casey is plus 105. Kevin Kistner at plus 320. I think he just has potential to come out hot and just stay in the top 20 for the rest of the weekend. And then again, Max Homa at plus 320. Him and Kistner have the same odds to finish top 20 this weekend. It's just ridiculous. It's just value all the way around with top 10, top 20. He might even be at plus money for a top 40. I don't think he is because I probably would have bet it, but still, there's value all the way around for Max Homa this weekend. My top 40 bets, I have Cameron Champ at plus 125, Kevin Kistner at plus 105, and Fratelli at plus 115. Again, Fratelli and Champ are just guys that play long off the tee, and hopefully they can stay long enough to gain some strokes off the tee box and stay competitive. Top 40 again, not pushing it. Champ's plus 125, Kisner's plus 105, Fratelli's plus 115. Not sure if I said the odds there. Group plays. So this was kind of like difficult for me because a lot of these groups are really, really good. I passed on a bunch of them, and the ones that I played Morikawa plus 220 versus Kepka, Reed, and Hovland. I just like Morikawa again. I think his approach shots have really been great here recently, and that's going to be enough to make him competitive and hopefully separate him from that rest of that group. Paul Casey at plus 290 versus Finau, Smith, and Westwood. Smith, again, a guy I'm high on, so worried there. Finau could obviously play well. He's been playing some of the best golf of his career here recently. Um, and there are very few people that play the par fives like he does, so obviously he's going to gain some strokes there. But Paul Casey plus 290 in that group. The third group I bet on, I have Daniel Berger plus 230 versus Scheffler, Simpson, and Sungjae M. Berger, as everyone knows, course proof kind of guy. Nothing else really. I just like him a lot. He was a guy that I was looking at outright a few weeks ago. Didn't take him, but I like him in that group. Scheffler, of course, is the one that worries me. And then the next group I have Matt Fitzpatrick plus 250 versus Matsuyama, Fleetwood, and Hatton. I think Fitzpatrick's just playing the best golf right now out of the four of them, so I think he keeps it rolling this weekend. In the last group, I have Joaquin Niemann plus 230 versus Jason Day, Sergio Garcia, and Louis Oosthuizen. There was value in Neiman there because all three of those guys obviously played well at Augusta before. And Joaquin Neiman was just kind of getting up there in price enough for me to say, yeah, I'll take the young guy in that group, and hopefully he comes out there. Individual matchups, I do 2 units on these as always. So like the first one I have here is Will Zalatoris. He's minus 150 versus Justin Rose. So I would play whatever it took for me to win 2 units. So since he's minus 150, I'd play 3 units to win two, and that's kind of the way the odds work. So whatever it takes to win 2 units on all these matchups is how I play them. do this every weekend. So Zalatoris minus 150 versus Justin Rose. Cameron Champ minus 142 versus Poulter. I love that one. Neiman minus 108 versus Day. Scott minus 126 versus Bubba Watson. Oosthuizen is at plus money against Garcia right now. I like that a lot. Daniel Berger minus 126 versus Sung J M. Patrick Cantlay minus 142 versus Xander Schauffele. John Rahm minus 152 versus McIlroy. McIntyre is minus 116 versus Perez, and Thomas minus 142 versus Jordan Spieth. My favorite matchup, I bet it earlier in the week, but it's no longer on the board, so I didn't put it. Justin Thomas was like minus 112 versus Rory McIlroy. That was like my favorite matchup. I bet it pretty heavily, but I'm not putting it on the card because it's no longer on the board anywhere. I think because of so many people were on Thomas to beat Rory this week that they kind of got out of the way when they could. Props. So a bunch of these are just like top senior, top Australian, top South African, so on and so forth. The other props I took a flyer on Tony Finau at plus 740 to birdie the 13th all 4 days. I think the 13th is probably the easiest par five on the course. Tony Finau plays par fives exceptionally. So I took a little plus 740 flyer on him to birdie all four of those holes. I also have Bernard Longer plus 110 to make the cut and Sink minus 118 to make the cut. So just banking on some veterans there to be playing into the weekend. I do have Longer plus 470 as a top senior over Phil. I like that a lot. He played well at Augusta. I think that this is kind of what he lives for, is just playing these majors now. And I think he comes out and makes a push and got him top senior plus 470. Great value. Um, Top European player John Rahm plus 340. Top rest of the world player Cameron Smith at plus 700. Top South American Joaquin Neiman minus 190. I want to say that the only other South American in the event is Sebastian Munoz. So you're pretty much just betting a matchup there. Um, Top continental European player. FanDuel has some really cool stuff. If you guys don't use FanDuel Sportsbook, check it out. The props and stuff they have going for the Masters right now are great. Top continental European player John Rahm at even money. Top English player Paul Casey at plus 430. Top Australian Cameron Smith at plus 200. That's going to be good. Watching him, Jason Day, watch all the Australian guys kind of battle it out. Top South African Louis Oosthuizen at plus 135. Top Spanish player John Rahm's minus 250. It's basically just him versus Sergio. I like Rahm enough to lay 2.5 there. And then top debutant, I have Will Zalatoris at plus 110, which I've already been over why I like him so much. So that's everything I have for the event. I think it's roughly 46, 47 total props, top 10s, winners, matchups, groups, you name it. And I'll go ahead and do my first round plays just because I have them here in front of me. Again, really cool prop. Top Australian after round one, Cameron Smith at plus 250. Jason Day is actually the favorite for that. So, again, big on Cameron Smith. Why not come out hot? And hopefully he's the top Australian after Thursday. First round leader, I have John Rahm at 22-1 and Tony Finau, round one leader, 33-1. I didn't really bet Finau on any other part in any other way. So I thought maybe taking him first round, if he does come out hot and really makes a push this weekend, at least I had him somewhere and doesn't come back and bite me. So it'd be awesome if he came out leader after Thursday and then kind of fell off because we did bet against him in some matchups and some stuff like that. Speaking of matchups, I have Fratelli plus 100 versus Jones and Lyle. Zalatoris minus 135 versus Long and Longer. Very funny. Kim plus 155 versus Connors and Wurzel. Kistner plus 195 versus Neiman and Willett. Plus 175 versus Matsuyama and English. Answer is another guy I think could be sneaky good this weekend. Obviously, he played well about 6 months ago, so watch out for him. Victor Hovland plus 170 versus Koepka and Watson. Hovland, one of my favorite guys on tour right now. Just can't bet him for the Masters right now, unfortunately. Dustin Johnson minus 160 versus Westwood. and Strafaki. Rom plus 145 versus McElroy and Shoffley. Berger plus 170 versus Casey and Reed. CT Pan plus 165 versus McIntyre and Weir. Kokrak plus 160 versus Leishman and Perez. Molinari minus 115 versus Couples and Osborne. A lot of people like the Fred Couples leader after the first round prop. Um, Matt Kuchar plus 155 versus Rose and Lowry. Horschel plus 165 versus Hatton and Palmer. Scheffler plus 135 versus Fleetwood and Mickelson. Cantlay plus 155 versus Eamon Fitzpatrick. Justin Thomas plus 125 versus Finau and Oosthuizen. And Morikawa plus 200 versus Spieth and Smith. I did take Thomas over Finau. Call it a hedge, call it what you want. Again, I'm betting Justin Thomas everywhere he pops up on the board. Same with John Rahm. I'm going to keep going. I'm actually going to parlay Fratelli, Zalatoris, Johnson, and Molinari. That's at plus 958. So about 9.5 to 1 if that parlay hits. And then I also did a parlay with Zalatoris and Dustin Johnson at plus 183. Zalatoris, when I bet him, was at 135. He's already at minus 160 in that matchup. So if you're big on that matchup, probably want to go grab it before that gets even more out of hand, because he is now tied with Dustin Johnson as the most favored individual in a matchup going forward. So yeah, first round plays, everything else. I'll be tweeting stuff out all through the weekend. I'll do 2 balls and 3 balls matchups and stuff like that for second, third, and fourth round. Probably live bet some winners. If none of my guys are kind of high up on the board, I'll probably look for an opportunity. Some guys don't play well tomorrow to still bet them to get back into the top 20, top 40 if you can get some of these guys at plus money. Um, Really looking forward to this weekend. I think everyone is. It's a great weekend in golf. But yeah, that's going to be it. If you guys like other stuff, I got baseball picks, tons of MLB, tons of NBA stuff today. I do a hockey parlay every single day. We've been pretty successful on those. March Madness went great. Be sure to check me out on Twitter at Papa Tomato, with the last O there being a 0. Picks every day, all sorts of stuff coming out. But yeah, Masters weekend. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can find some winners. Good luck.